Alright guys, so today and that is the fuel level sensor. It'll pop right up in your main display. Just give it a second here. Right there, fuel sensor fail. This also tells you right here we have the code reader hooked up. It is p0364. As you can see, it's a fuel level sensor, circuit input high. So that's just another thing that leads us right to that fuel sending unit, which we'll test it a little bit here. We'll show you how to test it and make sure everything's good. And you know, we'll carry on with the video, but just a little something I wanted to show you as well. So most likely when you end up with that in your dash, you're gonna end up with this on your floor, unless you're gonna pay the dealer a lot of money. So we got it out, and there's a bunch of stuff you gotta unhook, and this tank is freaking massive, guys. I mean, it's gotta be all of 5 foot. And it's heavy and it's awkward under there. If you're going to do this yourself, have a buddy for sure, and have a jack at each end of it, because the fuel, of course, will slide to side and just make a big issue. So there's a bunch of stuff in here you got to unhook. We'll go through that in a minute, but basically you're going to have to put a new fuel. You can either get a new fuel pump assembly, or you can go Mopar and get the sending unit alone for your level sensor. So it's up to you, whichever way you want to go. This truck has like 60,000 miles on it, so I don't know how much longer the stock fuel pump will last. So what we're going to do is keep this fuel pump and put the whole new assembly in, and then later on down the line, if the fuel pump fails, we can put this fuel pump in and move the sender over off of the fuel pump that we're about to put in it. So this is what you're looking for, guys. And also do it with the least amount of fuel in as possible. It will make your job much easier. But we'll go through what it took to get it out. We're going to go under the truck because I want to show you guys what you have to do to remove the tank. It's actually pretty easy. Maybe we'll go over the tank right now, what you have to disconnect, because you can see it out of the vehicle, and then we'll crawl underneath it and show you the straps, and you got to take the drive shaft out and stuff like that.
I took out the drive shaft for make it easy. Here, this is the front of the tank. There's a clip here. You want to unhook that. It's part of an evap line, it seems to be. And then you also have another evap line here in the back. You got to unclip that. Actually, I made it a little bit easier by taking the straps off first. Lower the tank just a couple inches to reach these lines. Took that off, and then I took off the filler neck. And then you want to disconnect this fuel line and the wire connector as you're coming down. Sometimes you got a little bit, you can bring it down a couple inches before you have to take them off, but don't pull too hard, you will break them fittings right off.
Also, guys, I want to note we did break the one clip taking it out, the one off of the fuel pump. It was very stuck in there. It's the one for the fuel line itself. So do yourself a favor, order that with it. That way if you break it, you can still get it back together that night. If not, you have an extra one for whatever reason. We have a shop here, so we do have extras. That's not a problem. But just something to let you guys know, if you're going to do it on a weekend, happens at midnight on Saturday, dealerships are closed until Monday, you're not going to work. I mean, that's a good thing. I don't know, maybe you don't want to go to work. But either way, just a tip. Alright guys, so we're underneath this thing, and I just want to show you a couple things to make your life easier. Take the drive shaft out. There'll be 4 bolts right there, and it is a slip yoke, so make sure you put something underneath that in case it ends up dripping when you pull it out. And then you are going to want to take the straps off, which are, there's the rear one, and there's the front one. Now you want to make sure that your gas tank is supported by something when you do that, and have a couple buddies handy. Alright guys, so first step is get your fuel pump retaining ring out.
Did it move? There it goes.
Alright, so what you want to do before you do that is you want to clean off the area. We blew it off earlier, that's why you see the air hose laying here. because you don't want to get any of that dirt down in the tank. And if you really want to go all out, you can wipe it down with some soap and all that. But that's what you got to do. You'll see little ears on there that you want to hit on, and just give it nice, steady hits. And keep moving around the ring.
And take note where everything goes. You know, you just want to make sure that's facing the same way when we put it back in. Usually you can't really mix them up, but just want to take note of the position it's in.
And also spray some PB Blast or WD-40 or whatever your preference is, and let that soak a couple minutes, and that'll help get that off. You're going to run into real problems when you start getting into metal sending units and stuff in older vehicles. This newer stuff's a lot nicer because it's plastic and you don't have to fight with that corrosion, but they still get in there pretty good. And then your basket's going to be full of fuel. You can see it there. Just let it dump out into the tank, or if you have another spot to dump it. So we have the leads hooked up here where the connector would go in from the truck. This is the new one out of the box. So we're going to do a comparison between this one and that one, which is the old one, so you can kind of see what you're looking for to test it.
All we're doing is doing a bench test to a sending unit. What we're doing is we're actually just tying into these wires. We identify the wires just by looking at the underneath side of this. What we're pretty much just checking is these 2 points here, but we use jumper wires that actually went from the connector. As you can see, we're in the 1000 scale, and you can see the resistance as it gets more full. Resistance will decrease. Now we're in the irregular ohms. As you can see, the resistance is decreasing, which would make your fuel level gauge read to the full position. That'd be a full tank, would be at 50, and you can see how as the fuel gets used, it goes down. What you want to see is a nice even sweep as the fuel level gauge moves. So what we're going to do is compare it to this for the bench test.
Now, for those of you wondering why it said overload for a second, he's moving that.
Open loop.
Oh, sorry.
Meaning no connection.
It said open loop
because you're in ohms.
He's moving that much faster than you will move fuel, so it didn't pick it up.
A little goofy. Actually, you want to use a graphing meter. Would actually really show you a nice even sweep, but all we want to do is see if it works. That's good enough. Okay, as we can see, we got our 2 thin wires here that go to our sender. They come in the back, same position, the middle too. You don't want them touching each other, otherwise it will read about 0 ohms. As you can see, we're already open loop. We got no connection, but I'm just going to start at full. Customer also complained saying his gauge did work to full, and he'll drive for a little bit and then he would lose it. As you can see here, we come down, boom. That's where it failed and threw the engine light on. And as you can see, we got no reading at the bottom end of the float. It only reads full tank, and that's what the customer said. If he filled his truck, it would read, his gauge would work, and that shows it's working. Comes down, maybe about 3/4 of a tank, nothing. This is all dead here. Bad sending. This truck here does need a sending unit.
Yeah, so if your truck is having that same issue, when it's full, it's working properly, and then it drops off, boom. Order yourself a new pump or a new sending unit, like I said earlier, whichever way you want to go. But I wouldn't buy a Mopar one. You want to know why? Because it didn't update it yet, and it failed to begin with. And it continually fails in other trucks if you do some searching on the forums. So I would not buy a Mopar one. As you can see, we were talking about saving the fuel pump, but these sending units, which this is the new one and this is the old one, are built way differently, which I'm actually happy about because that one's a piece of junk. So
this one was a pretty easy diagnose, meaning we knew the gauge and all that was good because the customer did say, hey, it worked at full, shows wire integrity, was all good.
So you want to lube up your O-ring with some sort of grease, something that's safe for rubber, Silglide,
Vaseline, anything of that nature will work the best. I'm just using some kind of silicone compound. It's like Silglide.
Yeah, we get it at a good price, so we use that instead. Alright, so you just want to lay her down on there. We cleaned the surface already, so you want to make sure you do the same.
Yeah, you want to clean that real good because if you get a bad seal, you're going to have an evap leak.
Yeah, and if you get any like big chunks of dirt in there, it just vibrating and moving around, you'll end up cutting the O-ring, and like you said, could be leaking fuel when it fills as well. So just make sure you clean that out. It only takes a couple seconds.
Take this guy. I always put it in, lean down the float. You want to make sure we're clipped here. And as you can see, it sticks up because it is spring loaded. You can see there is actually a locator sign right here. I didn't see that until we cleaned it off. And that just lines up with this tab here. Put your lock ring in. Just has a wider area so you can see how it goes over. Let's see if I can show it. And then want to make sure the O-ring's seated. Yep, I'm happy with that. Start as much as you can by hand, just to make sure you're lined up. Just work this around the tank. There is a tool for it, but who in the world has it?
As usual, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions, comment down below or let me know how it helped you out. Hit that like button. Also, check out the link in the description to our eBay store. We have tons of decals for sale. And I appreciate you guys very much. We'll see you on the next one.